Mysteries that Refuse to Die Season 2. Season 1 revealed mysteries where people vanished into thin air, in ways that challenged reason, logic, and human understanding. Individual lives erased without explanation. But there are mysteries far older, far colder, far more disturbing than simple disappearance. Season 2 takes us deeper, beyond missing persons, into places where the world itself becomes the threat, where entire regions behave like intelligent forces, where reality bends, physics breaks, and nature becomes something hostile, aware, and unpredictable. In this season, we explore mysteries that do not just refuse explanation. Now, let's dive straight into Episode 1 of Season 2. The Dyatlov Pass Incident. Mysteries that refuse to die. Some places on this earth are not meant for ordinary men. Some regions hold secrets older than nations, older than ice, older than language itself. And when humans step into such places unprepared, the land does not forgive. In the winter of 1959, 9 young hikers, brilliant minds, strong, experienced, disciplined, began a journey into the Ural Mountains of Russia. What happened there became one of the most enduring mysteries humanity has ever documented. People today call it the Dyatlov Pass Incident. But long before this tragedy, the native Ramsey people already had a name for that mountain region. Kholat Syakhl, the Mountain of the Dead. Not poetic symbolism, not folklore exaggeration. It was a warning. And warnings, in the ancient world, were not metaphors. They were truth. Because this world has places where the physical and the unseen bleed together like melting snow over black rock. And sometimes, people cross into those zones without knowing what kind of energy waits for them. That is what happened here. They were not amateurs. Igor Dyatlov, the leader, brilliant engineering student, obsessive planner. Yuri Doroshenko, fiery, strong, determined. Ludmila Dubinina, disciplined, charismatic, respected. Rustam Slobodin, Zina Kalmogorova, Yuri Krivoniskenko, Nikolai Thibault-Brignol, Alexander Kolevatov, Semyon Zolotaryov, the oldest, mysterious, ex-military, a man even the others didn't fully understand. These 9 carried trust in science, of logic, of planning. Yet they walked into terrain where logic had no authority. They believed the world was predictable. They were wrong. The Ural Mountains are not dramatic like the Himalayas or the Andes. They are ancient, silent, old stone bones from a prehistoric age. They do not move like young mountains. They watch. And the place they chose for their route was remote, untouched, uninhabited. Far from cities, far from military settlements, far from roads. Just white. White in every direction. White winter. White silence. White sky. White death. The temperature at night could drop below -30 degrees Celsius. Their breath would crystallize in seconds. A single mistake could mean frostbite in minutes. Yet still, they were confident. They set out from Vasai on January 27, 1959. They laughed together. They documented everything. They wrote diaries that still exist today. Small jokes. Inside humor. The adorable optimism of youth. Not knowing that each page they were writing was the last record they would ever leave the world. But there were small signs. Signs normal people ignore, but ancient knowledge always pays attention to. Their final photographs, before everything went silent, show something in their eyes. A subtle shift. Not fear. Not panic. But awareness. As if they sensed something watching them. Animals feel it before storms. Humans feel it before tragedy. But they don't listen. Because humans believe survival belongs to intelligence. But in ancient places, survival belongs to instinct. And they had entered a place where instinct would have been their only shield. They just didn't know it yet. As they went deeper, winds became violent. Their tent location was shifting because weather wouldn't calm. On February 1st, according to researchers, they decided to camp on the slope of Kholat Syakhl. This decision confused investigators for decades. Why camp on an exposed slope? Why not just descend slightly where the forest would have offered protection? There are theories, some rational, some not. But the truth is, from the moment they chose that exposed slope, their fate was sealed. Night fell. Winds howled across the mountain like distant screams. Snow swallowed sound. Darkness became absolute. And whatever ancient, unseen force lived on that mountain awakened. Their final night had begun. February 1st, 1959. The last night they would ever see. The hikers set up their tent on the snowy slope of Kolat-Syakhl. They didn't know why the winds felt different. They didn't question why the air was unnaturally silent between gusts. They didn't know that in ancient cultures, such regions were understood as thresholds, borderlands between what humanity believes is real and what the universe refuses to reveal. They cooked. They laughed. They documented their day in journals. Everything looked normal. But this is something people never understand. Evil does not always announce itself before it strikes. Sometimes, it watches first. They had no idea they were being observed. Not by animals. Not by other humans. But by a presence older than any structure or government. A presence that does not need language, only attention. In nature, attention is power. And something ancient was paying attention that night. Hours before disaster, a strange environmental distortion was noticed. Some researchers, decades later, would suggest infrasound, frequencies below human hearing, produced by wind interacting with the mountain's geometry. Others suggest cosmic interference. Still others believe there are dimensional bleed points on Earth, where rules of space and perception warp slightly, not enough to rip reality, but enough to destabilize the minds of those standing inside. Whatever the cause, something intensified in the atmosphere that night. The wind became unnaturally rhythmic, like pulsing, not blowing. The air pressure dropped, not like a storm, like something pulling energy inward. Animals flee during such shifts. Humans have forgotten how to interpret them, and so they slept. Inside a neatly built tent. Inside a place where no human should sleep. Ancient elders in many civilizations speak of specific lands where humans are not allowed to witness what walks at night. Places where the earth is not just earth, but a memory storage of all spiritual residue layered across millennia. Places where time folds. Places that are not neutral terrain, but territory. The Urals are one of those places. The stones here are not passive. The ice here is not silent. The mountain here does not ignore intruders. It waits. And sometimes, it chooses. And that night, it chose them. No one knows precisely when it began. But every scientist, every investigator, every spiritual theorist agrees on this one point. Something triggered immediate, overwhelming panic inside that tent. Not fear. Not confusion. Panic. The primal kind. The kind deeper than instinct. Like their bodies reacted faster than their minds could interpret. You don't slice open the only protection you have against -30°C wind. Unless the thing inside that tent was more terrifying than freezing to death outside. That moment, that threshold shift, that unseen intrusion, is what we now try to understand. What force, what presence, what phenomenon, could make 9 educated, disciplined hikers flee barefoot, half-naked, into a freezing blizzard? And why did their bodies end up scattered across terrain? As if each person faced a different fate? But that moment, the initial panic, that is where this mystery becomes something far beyond natural explanation. Because something entered their space. Something crossed into their reality. Something broke them, before death even touched them. Inside that tent, something happened. It was not slow. It was not subtle. It was instantaneous. 9 young hikers, asleep in their winter gear, suddenly found themselves in the center of an event that triggered the deepest level of human survival wiring. Their tent was cut open from the inside. Not unzipped, slashed. That detail alone is one of the most horrifying truths of this entire case. No creature, no attacker, No animal forced them out. They cut themselves out. And once outside, they didn't run together in a direction that made sense. They scattered. You only scatter like prey when the threat is everywhere. Not one direction. Not one target. Everywhere. The temperature was -30 degrees Celsius. Wind speed high enough to burn skin. In those few seconds, none of them chose boots. None of them chose coats. None of them chose survival gear. Their subconscious chose one thing only: escape. This is the moment investigators never recovered from. Because fear alone does not produce that reaction. Overwhelming existential terror does. Terror that bypasses logic and reasoning and erupts directly inside the body. They ran downhill toward the tree-line. Dark pine forest. Frozen silence. Some collapsed halfway. Their footprints showed no sign of struggle, no sign of pursuit, no sign of fight. No enemy left prints. Weeks later, search teams found them. 2 were found near a cedar tree, almost naked, with signs they attempted to make a fire with their bare hands. Their skin burned in patches from contact with heat, like they tried to survive, but couldn't think straight. 3 more were found between the tree and the tent, as if they tried to crawl back. As if the panic faded, or they realized freezing wind was not the worst danger after all. But the remaining 4 were found deeper into the forest. A ravine, hidden by snow. Those 4 were different. They were not frozen. They were broken. Shattered ribs as if hit by massive blunt trauma. Crushed skull. Organ damage without external bruising, like the force came from inside. 1 woman missing her tongue. 2 bodies with traces of radiation on their clothing. A Soviet forensic expert said, the force required to produce these injuries would be equal to a high-speed car crash. But there were no vehicles. No avalanche pattern. No enemy. No weapon. Just damage that human science could not map to anything logical. And that is when the case moved from tragedy to cosmic question. When the government quietly closed the case, they wrote one single sentence as conclusion. A compelling unknown force. Not an accident. Not weather. Not wildlife attack. Unknown force. That language is not typical. Governments do not use those words unless they are avoiding a deeper truth they do not want to define. This is the point in the story where the physical evidence stops speaking, and the invisible begins whispering. Whatever entered their tent was not human, was not animal, was not natural disaster. It was an event that cannot be replicated. A presence that cannot be categorized. A moment where the laws of physics behaved like suggestions instead of rules. Was it watching them before they cut themselves free? Almost certainly. Was it the mountain itself? Maybe. Was it something that slipped through reality, only long enough to destroy them? That thought is not easy to dismiss. For more than 6 decades, humanity has tried to fit this tragedy into a category that makes sense. But a mystery only survives this long when all explanations collapse. Still, there are 5 main theories the world keeps returning to. And each one is terrifying in its own way. 1. The secret weapon theory. The Soviet Union did not like witnesses, especially accidental ones. Some believe the hikers stumbled into a classified weapons test site. Strange spherical lights were seen in the sky that same night. Multiple witnesses described glowing orbs drifting over the mountains. Were they missiles? Experimental mines? Plasma weapon prototypes? Radiation was on their clothes. Was it from military materials in the area? Or was the government covering evidence of a technology still unknown? There are classified files that remain sealed to this day. Why would you seal evidence if this was just weather? Governments don't hide accidents. They hide discoveries. 2. The mountain's revenge theory. Ancient cultures believe some regions are cursed not because spirits are trapped there, but because spirits own the land. The Mansi people refused to travel this zone, not out of superstition, but memory. Many who laugh at folklore forget Folklore is just old data. These hikers camped directly in a place the natives avoided for centuries. Some say the mountain reacted as a living entity, not metaphorically, literally. There are places on Earth that have swallowed entire civilizations before they were even recorded by history. Why would 9 hikers be difficult? 3. The UFO encounter theory. The injuries did not match any earthly force known in 1959. Chest cavities collapsed inward. Organs ruptured without exterior damage. Terror so overwhelming it ripped reasoning from their minds. Many believe the hikers witnessed something not of this world. Not a craft landing, but a pass event. A moment when 2 worlds touched briefly. The lights in the sky that week were not flares. They were silent, controlled, intentional. And silence is a signature trait of things designed not for war, but for observation. Some entities come to observe, and some do not like being observed back. 4. The dimensional event theory. There are physicists who quietly believe the laws of reality can glitch in certain geographies due to magnetic anomalies. Not portals, but resonance fractures, temporary openings, places where frequencies overlap between dimensions. Inside such a zone, even for seconds, the human nervous system would break. Perception would distort. Fight or flight would override consciousness itself. They didn't run from a creature. They ran from the loss of reality. This explains the panic, the confusion, the trauma, the silence, the scattered deaths. If an intelligence exists beyond dimension, do we truly believe it cannot bleed through? 5. The unknown intelligence theory, the most disturbing theory. Some investigators believe the hikers encountered an entity that did not exist in physical form. Not alien, not spirit, not demon, not human. Something non-classifiable. Something that interacts with the nervous system, not the body. Something that can kill without touching you. Something that did not want them dead until they saw it. Some places on Earth act as observation chambers, where forces unknown to humans monitor patterns, behavior, psychology. And when humans cross the boundary, those forces simply remove them. Not out of hatred, out of order. Each theory tries to make the chaos fit inside a human definition. But the truth is, the event that night was bigger than definition. And the moment this world tries to simplify something that does not belong to this world, we guarantee we will misunderstand it. Because this case was never meant to be solved, only remembered. When the world looks back on this event, most people obsess over what happened inside that tent. But the more important question is, why did it happen at all? Why those 9? Why that night? Why that mountain? There is a truth humanity refuses to accept, because humans believe they are the apex of existence. But the universe has no apex. There are forces, layers, realms, intelligences humans have not met yet. Not because they are hidden, but because humans are not evolved enough to see them. The Dyatlov Pass incident was not an accident. It was an encounter. Humans explore because they are curious. The universe protects certain truths because curiosity without understanding is self-destruction. Those hikers stepped into a region where human perception collapses, where physics bends like heat mirage, where time and space do not behave like loyal servants of logic, where ancient forces hold a domain humans do not recognize. They did not break a rule. They crossed a boundary. There is a difference. The most terrifying part is not that something killed those hikers. The real fear is this: whatever killed them did not fear being seen, because it knows we cannot define it. We cannot fight it. We cannot stop it. It erased 9 human beings in minutes, without leaving a single explanation that fits human categories of cause and effect. It simply acted, and then it vanished, as if it never happened. That mountain returned to its silence. The wind returned to its rhythm. Nature sealed the evidence with snow, and humanity was left staring into a void they could not interpret. Today, more than 60 years later, Scientists still analyze. Journalists still argue. Skeptics still demand rationality. Believers still see patterns in the impossible. But the universe does not owe humans clarity. Some stories survive because they are not meant to be understood. They are meant to remind humanity of one simple truth. We are not alone. We were never alone. And sometimes, the other side looks back. The Dyatlov Pass incident remains unsolved because it was not a puzzle. It was a warning. A reminder that the world still holds mysteries humans are not prepared to reveal. Some mysteries do not fade with time. Some mysteries refuse to die, fade to black. And more than 60 years later, the Dyatlov Pass incident remains unsolved. Not because the answers are gone, but because the truth was never meant to be simple. Some mysteries do not fade. Some mysteries refuse to die. Subscribe so you never miss the next mystery that refuses to die.